By 2014, Venezuela imports 70% of food, 85% of medicine, 95% of consumer goods. Total import bill, $56 billion annually. But imports require foreign currency. And the government has lost control of who accesses that currency and at what price. This is not about the ethics of currency controls, not about whether speculation is immoral. This is about a mechanism that converts currency regulation into an arbitrage machine. About the fact that dual exchange rates were never designed to coexist with trillion-dollar trade flows. This video does not analyze intentions, does not debate fairness. It only dissects one mechanism. The mechanism of destroying currency value by creating a spread between official and black market rates. And once that spread exceeds 10:1, the entire economy operates through rent-seeking rather than production. When the official rate is 6.3 bolívares per dollar, but the black market trades at 60:1. When $300 billion can be extracted through arbitrage over 13 years, monetary sovereignty is no longer a central bank function. It is only an allocation question: who receives permission to buy dollars at the official rate? In 2003, following the PDVSA strike that shut down oil production for 2 months, the government fears capital flight. Wealthy Venezuelans might transfer assets abroad, depleting foreign reserves. To prevent this, the government establishes CADIVI, Commission de Administration de Devises, the Commission for the Administration of Foreign Currency. New regulation: private citizens and businesses cannot purchase US dollars without state permission. All foreign exchange transactions must be approved by CADIVI. The official exchange rate is fixed at 6.3 bolívares per dollar. The justification: protect foreign reserves, prevent speculation, ensure dollars are used for essential imports like food and medicine rather than luxury consumption. But the black market operates differently. On the streets of Caracas, dollars trade at 60 bolívares. The spread is 10:1. This gap creates arbitrage, risk-free profit through privileged access. The mechanism operates as follows. A politically connected individual, government official, military officer, ruling party member, applies for $1 million to import medicine. CADIVI approves the request. The individual pays 6.3 million bolívares to the Central Bank of Venezuela. Receives $1 million. The dollars are wired to an account in Miami or Andorra. The medicine is never imported. The import application is fraudulent. The dollars are sold on the black market for 60 million bolívares. Profit: 53.7 million bolívares. Return on investment: 850%. Duration: 72 hours. No goods imported. No value created. Only currency extracted. This mechanism operates at industrial scale. Government officials, military officers, business elites connected to the ruling party all submit false import requests. Estimates suggest $300 billion leaves Venezuela through this channel between 2003 and 2016. For context, the entire Marshall Plan cost $12 billion in 1948 dollars, equivalent to $115 billion in 2016 purchasing power. Venezuela loses more through exchange rate arbitrage than the United States spent rebuilding Europe after World War II. The government does not close the loophole. It expands access. By 2013, CADIVI approves 40,000 import requests annually. Most are fraudulent. The foreign reserves drain from $30 billion in 2008 to $12 billion in 2015. Ordinary citizens exploit smaller loopholes. The Raspa'o cupo, credit card foreign currency limits. Regulations allow Venezuelans traveling abroad to withdraw up to $3,000 per year on credit cards at the official exchange rate. A middle-class Venezuelan books a flight to Panama. Cost: $400. Upon arrival in Panama City, the traveler hands the credit card to a broker operating from a hotel lobby. The broker charges $3,000 in fictitious transactions, hotel rooms never booked, restaurant meals never eaten, car rentals never used. The broker returns $1,000 cash to the traveler, keeps $2,000 as commission. The traveler returns to Caracas, sells the $1,000 on the black market for 60,000 bolívares. Profit after airfare, 54,000 bolívares. The black market bolivar value of this profit exceeds a physician's annual salary. Flights from Caracas to Panama City remain fully booked every day for years. Yet planes are often half empty. Passengers don't board. They send credit cards with couriers who make the trip daily, processing 20 cards per flight. Once currency controls create a dual exchange rate, the entire economy operates through rent-seeking rather than production. Wealth is not created through manufacturing, agriculture, or services. It is extracted through privileged access to official dollars. Productive sectors collapse. Why operate a factory producing profit margins of 5 to 10% when currency arbitrage yields 850% in 3 days? Capital flows out of production into rent-seeking. By June 2014, oil prices collapse. Brent crude falls from $112 per barrel to $46 in 7 months. Venezuela's export revenue falls from $88 billion in 2013 to $38 billion in 2015, a 57% decline in 24 months. The fiscal deficit explodes to 15% of GDP. The government cannot borrow externally. Credit markets close after Venezuela defaults on $9 billion in bonds. No foreign reserves remain for imports. The only option, print money. The Central Bank of Venezuela increases the monetary base from 180 billion bolívares in 2013 to 14 trillion bolívares in 2017. A 7,700% expansion in 48 months. Inflation reaches 2,600% in 2017. Then 1,000,000% in 2018 according to IMF estimates. At the peak, prices double every 19 days. A cup of coffee that costs 10 bolívares on Monday morning costs 15 bolívares by Friday afternoon. The currency is redenominated 3 times. In 2008, 3 zeros are removed. 1,000 old bolívares become 1 new Bolivar fuerte. In 2018, 5 zeros are removed. 100,000 bolívares fuertes become 1 Bolivar soberano. In 2021, 6 more zeros are cut. 1 million bolívares soberanos become 1 Bolivar digital. 14 zeros total in 13 years. A banknote that once read 100 trillion bolívares soberanos now reads 100 bolívares digitales. But the denomination change does not restore purchasing power. It only updates the label on worthless paper. When hyperinflation reaches terminal velocity, cash ceases to function as a medium of exchange. Stores weigh currency instead of counting it. A kilogram of banknotes buys 1 kilogram of rice. Cashiers use postal scales at checkout counters. Some stores refuse cash entirely, accepting only dollars or barter goods. Businesses abandon Bolivar pricing. Supermarkets post prices in dollars. Informal merchants quote prices in eggs, cigarettes, or grams of gold. Barter replaces monetary exchange in rural areas. By 2017, food scarcity becomes mass hunger. A survey conducted by 3 Venezuelan universities, Universidad Central de Venezuela, Universidad Simón Bolívar, Universidad Católica Andrés Bello, finds 74% of the population loses weight involuntarily in 2016. Average weight loss, 8.7 kilograms per person. This phenomenon is termed the Maduro diet. Government food distribution programs cannot compensate. Clap boxes, comites locales de abastecimiento y production, provide rice, flour, pasta, canned sardines to registered households. Distribution is irregular, quantities insufficient. A box designed to feed a family of 5 for 2 weeks lasts 4 days. In rural areas, protein sources disappear entirely. People hunt iguanas, stray dogs, vultures. Zoos report animals stolen at night. Flamingos, tapirs, even crocodiles disappear from Caracas Zoo between 2015 and 2017. Not because Venezuelans prefer exotic meat, but because no other protein is available at any price. On March 7, 2019, the Guri Dam hydroelectric plant fails. Venezuela loses power nationwide for 1 week. Guri produces 70% of the country's electricity. The outage affects all 23 states simultaneously. Hospitals cannot operate dialysis machines, ventilators, incubators for premature infants. Refrigeration fails. Morgues cannot preserve bodies in tropical heat. Water pumps stop. Sewage systems back up. Telecommunications collapse. Estimated deaths attributable to the blackout, between 15 and 40, depending on source, most from inability to access dialysis or life support. The cause is not sabotage, despite government claims. Independent engineers identify the failure: corroded transmission lines operating beyond design life, transformers that should have been replaced in 2005, control systems maintained by personnel with no electrical engineering training after experienced staff were purged in political loyalty tests. Once infrastructure decays past the maintenance threshold, collapse is mechanical, and once technical staff are replaced by political appointees, maintenance becomes impossible. Between 2014 and 2024, approximately 7.7 million Venezuelans leave the country, out of a pre-crisis population of 30 million. This is 25.7% of the population, the largest displacement in modern Western Hemisphere history. Destination countries: Colombia receives 2.9 million, Peru 1.5 million, Chile 600,000, Ecuador 500,000, Brazil 400,000, United States 600,000. The exodus is primarily overland. Venezuelans walk from Caracas to Bogotá, 1,200 kilometers. Then to Quito, 1,600 kilometers further. Then to Lima, 2,100 kilometers. Then to Santiago, 3,100 kilometers total. Many cross the Darien Gap, a 110-kilometer stretch of roadless jungle between Colombia and Panama. No infrastructure, controlled by criminal groups who charge $150 to $300 per person for passage, or demand sexual favors from women traveling alone. In 2023, 520,000 migrants traversed the Darien. The majority are Venezuelan. The exodus provides two benefits to the Maduro government. First, remittances. Venezuelans abroad send dollars to family members inside the country. Western Union, MoneyGram, Bitcoin, estimated $4 billion per year flows into Venezuela through informal channels. This is hard currency entering the economy without the government printing bolívares. Second, reduced population pressure. Fewer people means fewer mouths to feed. Fewer protesters, fewer demands on collapsed hospitals, schools, water systems. The government does not prevent immigration. It facilitates it by relaxing passport renewal requirements and reducing exit visa enforcement. By 2021, Venezuela abandons currency controls entirely. The US dollar circulates informally as the de facto currency. Supermarkets restock with imported goods priced in dollars. A jar of Nutella sells for $15. A bottle of olive oil, $22. A box of Cheerios cereal, $9. Monthly minimum wage for government workers, $2.50. A full-time government employee earns less than the cost of 2 jars of Nutella per month. Venezuela now operates 2 parallel economies. The top 5% with access to dollars shop in stock supermarkets. They drive imported vehicles. They live in gated neighborhoods with private generators and water tanks. Their lives resemble normal middle-class existence. The bottom 95% subsist on government food rations. Clap boxes containing low-quality rice, flour, canned goods. Many products are expired. Pasta packages dated 2017 distributed in 2022. Sardine cans rusted, rice infested with weevils. But clap remains the only food source for most Venezuelans. Access to food becomes a political tool. Clap distribution is administered through local committees loyal to the ruling party. Registration requires the Carnet de la Patria, a government-issued ID card tracking voting behavior. Attendance at pro-government rallies. Social media activity. Opposition supporters report systematic denial of clap access. This is not economic recovery. This is stratification enforced through food dependency. The system functions for a narrow elite while the majority survives on state-controlled rations. In 1997, Thailand, the baht is pegged to the US dollar at 25:1. Foreign-denominated debt reaches 50% of GDP, mostly short-term corporate borrowing. Investors panic when Thailand's foreign reserves deplete below $30 billion. The peg breaks on July 2nd. The baht loses 56% of value in 4 months, trading at 56:1 by January 1998. Interest rates surge from 10% to 25% as the Bank of Thailand attempts to defend the currency. Businesses cannot service dollar-denominated debt at the new exchange rate. GDP contracts 10.5% in 1998. Unemployment rises from 1.5% to 5.3%. Monetary sovereignty evaporates. In 2001, Argentina, the peso was pegged 1:1 to the dollar since 1991 under the convertibility plan. By 2001, foreign reserves are insufficient to maintain the peg. The government freezes bank deposits, the corralito, preventing withdrawals above 250 pesos per week. On January 6, 2002, the peg is abandoned. Within 2 weeks, the peso trades at 3:1. Savings denominated in pesos lose 66% of value overnight. Riots erupt in Buenos Aires. Banks install metal shutters. The government cycles through 5 presidents in 2 weeks. Social order collapses. In 2015, Greece, public debt reaches 180% of GDP, mostly held by the European Central Bank and IMF. Negotiations on debt restructuring break down in June. Capital controls are imposed. ATM withdrawals capped at €60 per day. Banks close for 3 weeks. The economy operates on credit cards and informal IOUs. Trust in monetary institutions collapses. 3 countries, 3 continents, 1 mechanism. Loss of currency control when foreign-denominated obligations exceed reserves or when dual exchange rates create unsustainable arbitrage. Dual exchange rates enabling arbitrage. Money printing to cover fiscal deficits. Hyperinflation destroying currency value. Currency redenomination eliminating 14 zeros. Mass immigration exporting human capital. Dollar substitution replacing the national currency. Food dependency as political control. 7 mechanisms. 1 shared logic. Whoever loses control of currency value loses the ability to import, and whoever loses the ability to import in an import-dependent economy loses the ability to feed the population. So the question is not, why did Venezuela's currency collapse, but rather, what happens when a government creates an arbitrage machine that extracts $300 billion while printing money to cover deficits in an economy that produces nothing for export except declining oil? Resource dependency eliminated alternatives. Price controls and nationalization eliminated domestic production. Currency controls and hyperinflation eliminated monetary sovereignty. 3 episodes. 1 continuous mechanism. The systematic elimination of economic redundancy. Venezuela did not collapse from a single mistake. It collapsed from the compounding of sequential failures. Oil dependency removed fiscal buffers. Nationalization removed productive capacity. Currency controls removed monetary discipline. Each failure locked in the next. And when all redundancies are eliminated, when all shock absorbers are removed, when all alternatives are destroyed, the system operates with 0 margin for error. One price shock, oil falling from $100 to $46, and the entire structure fails. The mechanism does not require conspiracy. It does not require malice. It only requires each decision to centralize one more function, control one more variable, eliminate one more alternative. And when centralization reaches 96% of export revenue, 100% of foreign exchange allocation, and 90% of food import dependency, the system has no resilience. None of this required a plan. Only infrastructure built on single points of failure. And single points of failure do not forgive mistakes. They fail completely, immediately, and irreversibly. The global lens.